you have a dream, or better yet, a plan to relocate to Florida, but it's contingent on you finding a job, or would things just move easier if you already had a job lined up when you finally decided to relocate to Florida? Or are you trying to purchase a home in Florida, but you are required to have an offer letter to do so? No matter your reason for your relocation to the Sunshine State, I am glad you're moving to Florida, and I have some tips for relocating without a job and for finding a job in Florida without living in Florida. Stay tuned. What's up, everyone? I'm Lyndsey and I'm a real estate agent here in Sarasota, Florida, and I was lucky enough to be born and raised here in this gorgeous Gulf Coast beach destination. If you are new here, make sure you hit that like button. You know you want to. And don't forget to subscribe and get notified of new videos each week. Okay, let's get to the goods. Relocating because of a job transfer is the least tricky out of all possible scenarios for relocating out of state for two major reasons. One, you don't have to handle the stress of finding a new job. And two, you don't have to worry about obtaining a mortgage while changing jobs, which can really complicate the process. It can be a freeing experience to just pack up your family and move without a true plan in place, but it's really not for the faint of heart. Florida is a desirable dream destination for so many, and it's not uncommon to welcome newcomers who may not have a permanent home or job secured. And if this is the scenario that you're facing, there are a few things you can do to ease your transition. The first thing you can do is do your research. In the area you plan to move, are there jobs that are available that you are even qualified for? Are there jobs available that interest you? And does the cost of living in your chosen city align with the salary that those jobs offer? Do you and your family have enough savings in place to float 3 to 6 months without permanent work? And if you can seriously, reasonably answer all those questions, then go ahead and begin applying for jobs and lining up interviews in your new city or area that you plan to move. The hiring process can take time, so you know your planned move date and line up those interviews for as soon as you arrive, unless you're able to travel back and forth. And while you're applying for jobs, also start research for housing. And if you're traveling to the area for interviews, I suggest taking advantage of your time there by touring neighborhoods and planning the other facets of your family's life. Where will you live? Where will your children go to school? You can check out this video, which dives deep into how to choose the right school for your children when moving from out of state. Is it better to get a job before you move to Florida? Well, of course it is. It can make things way easier. Getting a mortgage or a lease, whether permanent or temporary, while looking for a home with a real estate agent is easier when you are already employed. And not having to dive into your savings because you have a steady income will reduce the stress and anxiety that comes with such a big life change for the entire family, which makes your transition even easier. So my advice is to try your best to obtain a job before you arrive. Let me know in the comments below. Are you moving your family to Florida or out of state without a job? And what state are you coming from? And make sure you stick around so I can give you tips on how to get a job when you get to where you are going. So by now you're probably wondering, Lyndsey, how and where do I get a job? And how do I relocate for a job? Like I previously mentioned, have a plan. Clearly know your reason for moving. Why did you and your family decide to move to Florida? Specifically the city or area you chose the place for your new life. Having a clear vision is important, especially if a new employer asks. They're going to want assurance that you're not just moving for the job, although maybe you are, but that you are permanently moving. So having a plan also means understanding the cost of living and affording the moving expenses, like truck rentals and temporary housing, storage, etc., etc. So a new employer may or may not offer relocation assistance. So if they do, having a budget you can present with a detailed estimate of how much your relocation is expected to cost you is crucial. I mean, they may also want to use preferred providers whom they have established relationships. So be careful to not push back, as you might bite the hand that soon feeds you. So before I get into some tips about the job search, in today's world, I think it's important to discuss your social network. When making a move across the state, more and more employers are using social media to perform research on prospective employees, as well as to recruit. So some of the suggestions I am going to make are to help your situation in leveling the playing field. So take a look at your profiles on all your social platforms and remove your current city. I believe employers will pass over prospective employees if they are not local for many reasons. The candidate will be like, I'm moving only if I get the job, or I can work remotely. That is not you. So level the playing field with those that are applying locally. Then, if you have specific companies in mind, begin following them on LinkedIn or Facebook. Maybe connect with different employees in the different departments that you would like to work in on LinkedIn. Start networking. Another way to use the social network is to join local groups in the area or meetups to find others in the area that have similar interests or hobbies as you. Maybe search the local job boards on Facebook too. Start networking. The faster you can build up your support network, the more you and your family will feel at home when you move. Plus, you never know who you will meet or what job would be referred to you. So how else can you find a job before relocating? First, have a good resume. Don't be overzealous in detail. Be clear and concise. More importantly, be honest about your past work history. And in your case, I highly suggest a good cover letter. Make it great, actually. Again, don't put an out-of-state address, but share in your letter your intent to move, especially if you have a set date or time frame. Big suggestion of all, use a recruiter. Far too often I hear clients doing all the job searching when there are regional, national, and industry-specific professional and executive top recruiters who will do all the work for you. Yes, they exist. A few that I know of are Four Corner Resources, a Curve Recruiting Services, or ARC, American Recruiting and Consulting Group. There's others that are like Adecco Staffing. There's so many, and some that are very specific to your industry, financial industry, healthcare industry, whatever it is, seek them out. So let's recap. Have a plan. Have a moving budget and understand the cost of living. Know your reason for moving. Research the area for qualified jobs and prospective companies and start applying and searching for housing. Prepare your social profiles. Build your social network and have a good resume and a great cover letter. And hire a recruiter. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and get updates on new videos. If you or someone you know is planning to move out of state or to the sunny state of Florida, please share this video. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook and on Instagram. And until next time, bye.